A lot of you have watched the video about this car and we have an update. So let's talk about what is the final result of what we're going to be doing with the Chevy Spark. Let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. So those of you that don't know me, my name is Joe. I run a rental car business in Jacksonville, Florida, and a lot of you have seen the story about the Chevrolet Spark. I am still at this point waiting on the police report to see if I can figure out what exactly happened to this car, because I'm telling you, my mind is blown. Anybody that sees this car, their mind is blown, because what on earth happened to this thing? So we just received word from my claims adjuster that this car is likely going to be a total loss. So I'm going to take you through at least as much of the steps as I possibly can as far as what happens to this car. It is going to be picked up tomorrow to get sent to the IAA lot, where another adjuster is going to take a look at the car and decide if this car is in fact repairable or if it's officially going to be a total loss. So as of today, that is where we're at with this car. I am probably going to take at least one more drive with this thing. It's kind of fun to drive around with it looking like this, but we got to take everything off of it. We got to get the license plate off. We got to take the floor mats out and all that other fun stuff. And then this car will basically be ready to get towed away. And I'll show you once that happens and once it's gone for good. So I am in the middle of doing a detail, and we have just started on the wheels on this Hyundai Santa Fe. And if you look at these wheels here, and you look at these wheels here, it is a huge difference. So I love doing this part of the job. It's a lot of fun. This is not one of my rental cars. This is a friend of ours, and it is needing some love on the outside, so we're going to take care of that. And we're also doing an oil change and a cabin air filter change. We also have our 2022 Toyota Camry. That car was involved in a minor fender bender. It was actually parked in the driveway and somebody bumped into it when it was parked. So we actually already have a quote from the collision shop that we're going to get ready to send over to the guest here today as well. So we're going to get to work on this car here, and we'll show you the end result of it. Well, it is the same day. They just called us, and they want to come get the car today. So we are actually gonna stop our wash. Sorry, the lighting's a little weird over here, but we're gonna pull this car out that I have been washing, and we got to get the license plate off. We got to get the floor mats out of the car, and we'll go from there. So let's start this work here. And there we go. There's our floor mats down there. Throw everything out. There we go. License plate is off the car. We're gonna shut these doors. And I'm actually gonna attempt to vacuum the driver's seat so I can pull the car out. And we might be nearing the end of our 2022 Chevrolet Spark. I'm gonna pull this sun pass off because we don't need to be paying someone else's tolls. It actually takes the barcode reader with it, and it just leaves you with a little sticker. So I'm not gonna really worry about removing that. And then we have our fast pass to our car wash. All right, there we go. We got everything out. And now we're gonna try, and I'm actually gonna do this off camera. We're gonna vacuum the driver's seat so that we can sit in it real quick. And then we're gonna take it for a quick spin up and down the street one last time, and this thing will be ready to head out. Well, our last drive with it is going to be putting it on the tow truck. So we are starting it up, and as I show you, not a single warning light on the dash and nearly a full tank of gas. I'm telling you, somebody needs to buy this thing and get a decent amount of money for it, because it is a shame that this car is going to potentially be a total loss. All right, and off it goes. She's going to head over to the tow yard. Got to flip around in the cul-de-sac there. It's heading to IAA now, and they will verify for sure if this car is in fact going to be a total loss. So for now, I got my space back in the garage. I guess it's just in time because now I can go grab the car that I'm detailing and pull that in here. So away it goes. I'll tell you what, when somebody sees that on the road as he's towing it, they're gonna be like, what in the heck happened to that car? That looks ugly. That looks very ugly. But I'll tell you what, as I said, Maybe I'll even post the VIN in the description below, because if you want to go look for that car and go buy it, you have a good running and driving car that's had regular maintenance. So go get it if you have opportunity, because I'll tell you what, you might be able to pop some doors on that thing and go sell it for a profit. Well, it's been a few days and we still haven't really heard much yet. The car is still at IAA, so we're waiting on everything as far as the total loss. My plan is to be able to sit down and show you what the car made over the course of its basically almost 2 years of being on Turo, and what we got paid off for the total loss and how much we paid for the car overall. So we'll go through all of that once we get all the final numbers together. We're finishing everything up there, and in the meantime, here is the Camry, and on trip number 2 this happened. So we are in the process of getting this to the collision shop. You can see that the car was hit when it was parked, and we actually don't have a whole lot of damage to the paint. There's a little bit of scratching right here, and some of the paint is flaking off right around the bumper right here. But the car is actually not that bad as far as the damage, but I mean, if you stand back here, you can definitely see the tire. So I was actually trying to pop this dent out a little bit, and it sort of worked, but it's pretty bad enough to where this is going to need some work at the collision shop. So we are waiting on the guest to pay the invoice on this if they are going to. If not, we're going to go through Turo to get this fixed once again. And yeah, I think this car set a record for the shortest amount of trips before it got into a crash, but couldn't really prevent it. This guest was basically just sitting inside of his house when somebody knocked on the door and said, "Hey, somebody hit your car." So, I mean, you can't really do a whole lot about that. But I've had questions from people like, does the guest have liability when it comes to these types of accidents if it's not their fault? I'm gonna tell you, our CEO had a conference with us back in November of last year, and he summed it up pretty well. There's a difference between responsibility and liability, and it does not just pertain to cars on Turo. This pertains to even when you have a rental car. You do have opportunities to get coverage on even a rental car through Avis or Hertz or any of those large rental car companies, and the same thing works through them. Something happens, you get a flat tire, you get a chip in the windshield, anything like that. Those are the things that you are liable for, even if you carry coverage. So if you decide to buy coverage through Avis or Hertz, then those coverages cover things like that. But if something were to happen during your trip and you are held liable for it, then you have to pay for the cost of that repair. So the same thing happens here. I've had guests where they're like, why do I have to pay money for a flat tire if I have coverage? A lot of times these coverages have a maximum out of pocket. A lot of them are getting maximum out of pocket coverage of $3,000. So that's the maximum I can charge somebody before I have to go through Turo. Obviously, in the case of the Spark, it was way more than that, so we ended up going through the Turo process because of the magnitude of the damage on that one. But this one in particular, if the guest is able to pay the invoice, then I will invoice the guest however way they pursue it, whether they go through their insurance or they go through the guest's insurance or the person that hit them and go through their insurance. One or the other, there is a way to be able to get this paid. I'm trying not to go through Turo in this case, but we'll see what ends up happening. I gave the guest the invoice. They have a certain amount of time to either pay or dispute it, and we'll go from there. As for what's next, and now that I'm back down to 11 cars, am I going to go to 12 again and get another Spark maybe? There's a possibility, but it's not going to be anything that I'm going to be doing anytime soon. For now, I'm going to be holding off and staying with the 11 that I have. We will work to figure out what is going to happen as far as the total loss on the Spark, and we'll go from there. All right, one of my favorite things to do, we got 2 new cars actually over the holidays, and I've been delaying actually putting them on the shelf, and today we're going to unbox them and get them over there with the other cars. So let's check them out. So here we have a 2022 Audi RS e-tron GT. It's in an interesting color. Don't have anything like that on the shelf right now. And we have a 1979 Ford F-150 pickup. Just looks beautiful. So we're going to unbox these two and we're going to find spaces for them on the shelf. It's actually going to be kind of a tough one because we only have one Audi, and that is the original TT Roadster. So I'm actually going to move some of these Porsches and actually turn them in this direction. And then we'll pull this Audi from the top and put that right here. And then the e-tron will go right here in between them. And then we're going to take these ones and just angle them, which actually is a little bit better being that they're on the top shelf already as they are. So this will be a little bit easier to see them when you walk over and check them out. And there we go. We got the top shelf all set up. Basically mostly Volkswagens except for this one right here. This is actually a 1935 Auburn. I think I just randomly slapped this one over here. It probably doesn't belong, so we're gonna have to figure out where that one's gonna go. Maybe I'll rearrange the shelf. And then as far as the Ford F-150, it's gonna be, again, kind of difficult to set this on the shelf. I got my sidekick over in the other room if you can't hear him, but we're gonna have to rearrange probably the cars over here. But again, it's hard because we have Mustangs, and then we have the two Ford GTs and the two Broncos. So I don't really want to disturb the two GTs and the two Broncos. So we might have to play around with this a little bit to figure out how I'm going to make that Ford F-150 fit. Now down on this bottom shelf, we do have all F-150s in an Expedition, and then we have the Ford Explorer Sport Track. I think I'm going to take this Explorer Sport Track and probably move it up, but I have yet to figure that out. Actually, yeah, that does seem to be the best solution. There is, we're going to take these four and we're going to turn them so that they are in this direction. These Broncos are humongous and kind of difficult to squeeze in on the shelf. And then we're going to take the Explorer Sport Track and we will squeeze it in right there. And so now we have space next to the other F-150s, and we'll put the older F-150 right on the bottom shelf right there. These things need to get dusted, holy cow. And so looking at the e-tron, we have everything off the platform and out of the box. So we have a working front here. If I can do this one-handed, there we go. And you got nice opening right there. Obviously no engine needed with an electric vehicle. And if we open up the front door, if you look inside there, you got nice little accented door sill. You got nice interior. Everything looks pretty decent on the inside. It's kind of hard to zoom in and show that. And you can actually see, it's kind of hard to show it, but you can actually see through the sunroof, just like you would in a regular car, in the real thing. And if you open the trunk, that also works in the back. And that is it for the e-tron. And then moving on to the Ford, we have a working hood, nice colored carburetor, pretty good detail in the engine as well. And then if we open this door, it really does have that old school feel. When you open up the door, you got the door sill, nothing's cheaped out, the mirror's there. It's kind of hard to see inside, but nice basic interior there. And then the tailgate is actually pretty well held up. If you open up the tailgate, opens and closes pretty well. All right, so we got our space right here. I'm hoping it's gonna fit, and it does. And so we got the Ford F-150, the old school, along with the more modern day, sort of modern day. They're my modern day, they were from the 90s, but the Ford F-150, the Lightning, the Harley Davidson actually Lightning, and then the SVT Lightning, and then we have the Ford Expedition, all from the 90s. And the e-tron is going to fit right here. This thing is an absolute monstrosity compared to the Porsche convertible, but we will spread everything out a little bit more and kind of make it look nice. And there we go, we got our two Audis, and then we have a few Porsches, and then the Porsches continue moving down and then going into BMW. So there we go, we got two new cars in the collection, which puts me either at or close to 140. Just goes to show you how much I know about this stuff. I'm at 151, so crazy. 151 model cars, but I love every single one of them, and it is going to continue to grow as a collection. I love it. Some of you are like, oh, why do you collect that stuff? Why do you just have it sit? Because I enjoy it, and I don't care if you think it's stupid or not. It's my thing that I enjoy. Now that is gonna do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this content, please give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing if you enjoy following this business and learning a little bit more about what it's like to be a Turo host. And if you have anything you want me to talk to you about, if you are considering renting a car on Turo, leave a comment down below, or if you have any comments on this video, leave a comment down below. Happy to talk to you about anything. If you would like to have us manage a car for you here in Jacksonville and help you make a little bit of passive income, my email is down below. Send me a message. I will be happy to look over the vehicle and decide for you if this car is going to be a good one or not. Again, I am not going to be just putting any car on the platform. I am going to make sure that it is worth you giving your asset to me for you to be able to actually make money. And if you're looking to rent a car in Jacksonville, visit AtchooRentals.com. We have everything from compact cars to, we still have that minivan. It's actually out at a rental right now, but nice and comfortable, seating 7 passengers. We're actually getting ready to do the brakes on that car, so it's gonna have fresh new brakes, and it is ready to hit the road for you and your family. Thank you all again for watching. Hope you have a great day.